Well, Courtney, Tom, the taxi driver, told me he didn't think too much of it at first. He's given rides to her in the past, and they're both from the same company, or country, I should say. But that cab ride turned out to be instrumental in leading up to her arrest.
Actually, when I was going to pick her up, I saw the police and the fire department, and I was able to pick up in front of all these people. The
checker cab driver says he's given Raissa Kengne rides before.
I didn't have no idea. I didn't even suspect anything. Again, because I picked her up before. It was not some random person that I picked up for the first time.
She then told him to take her to the airport. Then he got a phone call from the checker cab dispatch.
I had called every single driver that we had that was in the Atlanta area and asked them if they had a passenger in their car, if it was a female.
Dispatcher Lauren Hewitt says he was the only one in the whole city at that moment who did.
There's a point in time where the checker cab dispatcher called me, and they say, I heard in the background, it's not her. The police say it's not her.
Then the dispatcher called back with the police on the other line. The driver then asked the suspect,
Do you have any problem with anyone?
That's weird.
Okay.
No.
Do you?
What happened?
I said, listen, all the phone call I'm receiving is about you. You know, do you have a problem with somebody? Did you do anything? And she told me no. She said, you safe, don't worry, you safe.
The cab, which has a GPS tracker in it, is how we believe police found her. The video shows her pay and climb out of the cab at the terminal, where police later catch up with her.
I will get my birthday.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
A taxi cab driver picked up a woman in Midtown Atlanta. A lot of police in the area because at the same time that he was picking her up, you had reports going out across the city and the news quickly spreading on social media of a mass shooter on the loose in the area. 3 men had been shot at the time at skyscrapers, and multiple law enforcement agencies worked together to hunt the suspect down. But little did the cab driver know, he was picking up the person that everyone was looking for. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. And if you're new to the channel, include new subscriber in your comment below, and I'm going to try my best to respond to all of you. Raissa Kengne was born in Cameroon. She immigrated to the United States where she attended Georgia State University, obtaining a degree from their business school in 2010 in accounting and finance. After a couple of years of interning and gaining experience, she earned her master's degree in 2013 in Information Systems Audit and Control. Raissa started one of those internships in October 2011 with BDO USA, where she worked for about 6 to 7 months. BDO, a global accounting network, they deliver assurance, tax, and financial advisory services. She ended up gaining more experience as an IT audit manager, and then connected with the company once again 7 years later when she accepted a job with BDO as an IT audit manager in August of 2019. 2 years after she accepted that position, she was promoted as an experienced IT audit manager in August 2021. Then just a couple of months after her promotion at BDO, she left the company in November 2021. She was experiencing legal troubles with the company after becoming a whistleblower and accusing people at the company of fraud. While going through those legal battles, she ended up starting her own company in May 22, while also opening up about her ongoing battle with former employer BDO.
A lot of twists and turns tonight, so speculation on how the alleged shooter knew the victims are circling right now. Tonight, investigator Rebecca Lindstrom found some court filings that may offer some clues here.
Raissa Kengne acted as her own attorney, filing hundreds of court documents the past 2 years, seeking justice against claims of harassment and fraud. And today, we read all of them. By the time police arrested her, court records claim she was fighting to stop foreclosure on property in Douglasville, get her power turned back on. And while she did have her condo, as of May, she said she had less than $3,000 to her name and no income. She blames these problems on 2 groups: BDO, the accounting firm where she worked as an IT audit manager until last November, and the property management company for 1280 West Peachtree, where she lived. Let's start with BDO. Kengne claims she found repeated evidence that audits were not being performed correctly. She claims she told her boss, Wesley Freeman, one of the men killed in the shooting. Kengne says the company ignored her concerns, and when she refused to drop it, started harassing her. That's where the property management company comes in. She alleges they allowed someone to use a copy of her key to her condo to break in, steal things, and intimidate her. The other person killed was Michael Shinners, who worked as the general manager for that condo association. Kengne did report these alleged break-ins to police. She states in her lawsuit that an officer was sent out to review security footage and dust for fingerprints. She lists 3 incidents in her lawsuit from last year, but it wasn't until a week ago that she started posting her allegations and frustrations on LinkedIn.
Someone broke into my home, right? They opened the safe, they broke the safe, opened the safe, took evidence that I had in my safe.
Kengne has been trying for a while to get someone to listen to her claims. She actually reached out to us in April. She claims her phone and computer were hacked and that she was isolated from her family who live outside of the country. In her court filing, she says several times that she feared for her life.
After starting her own company in 2022, Kengne Corp, Raissa went on LinkedIn to trash her former employer. Speaking on her ex-boss, Wesley Freeman, she said Wesley Freeman is the laziest manager I have had the displeasure of working for. His laziness is only surpassed by his incompetence. How hard is it to really test elevated privileges for systems when you have professional organizations and the SEC already setting the standards for you? She went on to call out many others and said, "You bet I'm suing all of them. It is a shame that the 6th biggest public accounting firm has criminals at the top. No one is above the law." At this point, Raissa, she had filed over 600 pages worth of documents in the lawsuit, tried to get the case moved to federal court in July, but a federal judge recently sent her back to state court. She accused her former manager and her management at her condo of colluding with one another to have her robbed on 3 different occasions to steal evidence in the case, hacking her computer's phone and breaking into her safe. APD came to her condo where they took fingerprints, but didn't find any foreign prints. They also said there was no forced entry. Raissa claims the management of the condo had access to her unit, so they didn't have to force their way in. The police also did not find any video footage showing anyone entering her apartment. So because of all of that, they did not classify her report as a burglary. She went down to the Atlanta Police Department where she was attempting to get them to change her police report status and reopen the investigation. She recorded her interaction with the officer here.
Ready? First, it didn't have any forced entry.
It doesn't need to have a forced entry
All
for
right,
burglary by law.
Let me talk.
Yes, go ahead.
All right.
Just making that point.
You spoke, let me speak.
Yes.
All right. So, as far as the report says, it says there was no forced entry.
All right.
All right?
No signs,
Second,
no visible sign of forced entry.
you have the report. You read it, right?
You say no visible sign of forced entry. Now, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. So, you saying that it needs, right now, it's not showing as burglary. And you're saying, let me talk.
No, I thought it was a question. Go ahead.
It's not showing as burglary.
Okay.
And you're saying it needs to be changed as burglary. But if we don't see any forced entry, we cannot change it as burglary.
Okay.
I
reported a crime. I reported a crime.
Okay,
Yes.
Ma'am, listen.
Yes.
All right. If you feel like it should be a burglary and you have the information, the video, whatever you told me that you have, that could convince this officer that this was a burglary, I don't see no problem in her changing it so they could investigate it. Right?
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
There
go
is
ahead.
no problem with that.
Go ahead.
That's the only thing I could tell you.
Okay.
And she was going to give you the number for burglary. They could read that report and talk to you about it, and you could give them that information about the burglary that they investigate.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Now, hold on a second. That information report, I specifically told her that it was a crime. I'm a whistleblower, and I told her that information in my safe was taken out. And when there was a flash drive that was dropped on the floor, and she told me sarcastically, well, it's your flash drive. I cannot say that there was a burglary because the flash drive could have, fell off.
What's up? All right. You needed it to bring him to the jail? Okay. All right. I got you. Okay. All right. Go ahead, man. Why not in my face?
I'm taping.
But back
I'm
up a little bit.
All right. Sorry.
Thank you.
And I know it's covered with personal space, so I just wanted to take a close up. All right. So now you're telling me that the report is not updated and you're not going to update it. You're not going to investigate as a crime. I'm saying, no, let me finish as well. I'm saying it's a burglary. I say it's a burglary. By law, what they did is a burglary. It does not need to have any sign of broken entry, right? Because the board members have, the management has a copy of the keys on file, which I told Officer Caleb as well. Now I am asking you, when a citizen, right, of the United States of America calls the police and tells the police that someone broke into my home, right? They opened the safe, they broke the safe, opened the safe, took evidence that I had in my safe and dropped the flash drive on the floor, and they left. The Beacon Management Services and the board members have access to the keys to my unit. Now you're saying that the officer who's respond to that crime, to that call, is not going to document it as a crime just because she did not even try to investigate whether there were any signs of forced entry or not. She did not even look at the logs. Are you saying that it would not be called a crime?
93, copy that. All right, ma'am, like I told you before,
Yes.
in order for the officer, I will not be able to change it for you.
Okay.
Definitely, the officer
So,
will have to do it.
what does it say
And
now? What does it say now?
I let you talk.
Yes.
I let you speak, and I listen to you.
Okay, you did.
Now, please,
okay, good.
let me.
All right.
I will tell you straight up, and then you will go ahead and do what you have to do.
Yes.
I'm telling you that for it to be changed to a burglary, you need to talk to a burglary investigator.
All right.
All right? The burglary investigator will determine if it's a burglary or not, and if it needs to be changed, and if it needs to be investigated. All right?
What happened to the prints?
They will let you know. They will let you know
Yes.
if anything further needs to be done. They will call you. They will ask you about all the information that you're asking me, which I cannot answer.
All right.
Right? And then they will further investigate if they need to.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
All right.
So now what I need, right, is to know what happened to the evidence that she collected on the scene of the crime.
Most likely it's in property as evidence.
All right. So now I had confirmation that they were changing the report. I have not seen the changes. I've only seen the initial report that was provided to me.
Okay, I'm gonna say it one more time and
Yes.
that's it, okay?
All right.
She will give you contact information for the burglary.
Okay.
They will determine if it is a burglary.
Okay.
And if it is a burglary, they will change the status as far as from a non-crime to a burglary.
Okay.
After they get all the information, okay?
All right. I will take that road, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Well, can I get the number to the burglar? It's right here for you.
Now, the officer at the Atlanta Police Department, she told Raissa exactly what she needed to do, but Raissa still was unsatisfied. So she went back on social media to once again air her grievances for the last time. She wrote this on LinkedIn on August 21st, 2022. The title of the post, Retaliation in the Atlanta Police Department. I was retaliated against by my former employer, BDO USA, because I reported a fraud perpetrated by Wesley Freeman and covered by Scott Meyer. BDO leveraged their relationships with Beacon Management Services and the 1280 West board members in the condominium I live in order to gain unauthorized access to my home, break into my safe, and delete evidence that I had, thereby breaking so many laws that it is hard to believe. BDO and its agents went from committing a white-collar crime to a criminal crime. APD has been reluctant in providing me with information related to my case. I will post a series of videos to show the police's response to the crimes committed against me. I will keep you updated on the status of my case because it is relevant to anyone who has spent many years combating fraud in their professional lives. Before she walked out of the police station, Raissa was basically like, whatever happens next will just happen. So the next day after she made her post on LinkedIn, on August 22nd around 1:45 in the afternoon, she walked down to the office of the condo where she lived at 1280 West on West Peachtree in Midtown Atlanta. That's where she opened fire, shooting the property manager, 60-year-old Michael Shinners, and then 68-year-old Michael Horn, the chief building engineer, was also wounded. Raissa then held a third person at gunpoint and demanded personal property from them. After she was done there, she left the skyscraper and went down some blocks to another skyscraper at 1100 Peachtree near the bustling Colony Square in Midtown Atlanta. Lots of corporations housed in that block. That's where she walked inside the building and targeted her next victim, 41-year-old Wesley Freeman, her former manager at BDO. Raissa left the building, contacted a cab service that she's used plenty of times before. She was already acquainted with the driver who picked her up because he picked her up on several occasions. He was also from her home country, so he didn't have any suspicions. You know, you had a lot of police around, a lot of sirens going on in the area, but things really got weird when he started getting a bunch of calls from his dispatcher as well as the police, asking him about a woman that was in the cab with him. They suspected that he was transporting the woman that they had been looking for, responsible for shooting 3 people in Midtown Atlanta. The driver started questioning Raissa, asking her, did she do something? He told her there's people calling his phone and they're looking for her. Raissa told him no, she didn't do anything, he was safe, to just drop her off at the airport. The cab driver made the 20 to 25 minute drive down to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson, where he dropped her off at the terminal. But before Raissa can even escape and get on a plane, she was apprehended by law enforcement. Later on in the day, it was announced that 41-year-old Wesley Freeman and 60-year-old Michael Shinners were both deceased, while the third victim was in the hospital. Raissa appeared in court where the judge had to repeatedly tell her to remain silent before denying bail.
Your Honor, I have reviewed the warrants. I've read each and every warrant in Odyssey, which matches the calendar. I don't have any legal arguments at this time.
No objection to the statutory form.
If I may intervene.
Ms. Kengne, please remain silent, ma'am.
All right.
Mr.
Judge,
Cho,
I don't
no
have any-
objection to the statutory form?
No objection to the statutory form. Yes, sir.
All right, fair enough.
Your Honor, he's not my attorney.
Ms. Kengne, you need to remain silent, ma'am.
All right, but he's not my attorney.
Okay, I think he's going to indicate that to you shortly. Ms. Kengne, it appears that you do not qualify for the public defender. You have assets or income that would preclude them from finding you qualified to be represented by the public defender. It is up to you, Ms. Kengne, to hire your own attorney, and I would encourage you to do that as soon as you possibly can. If you delay or stall hiring your own attorney, under Georgia law, it is possible that you could be deemed to have waived your right to an attorney under the case of Longo versus City of Dunwoody. I'll spare you the details on the case, but suffice it to say, Ms. Kengne, if you do not want Mr. Cho or Ms. Markowitz to represent you, then it is up to you to hire your own attorney sooner rather than later, okay, ma'am?
Judge, may I talk?
No, ma'am. You have the right to remain silent. I would encourage you to use it. We are recording these proceedings.
Yes.
And anything you say can be used against you, and the DA is right here paying attention with us, okay?
Yes, and I would still like to talk and clarify the information provided by Mr. Chill. I have not had a chance to talk to Mr. Chill this morning about the very case and about the facts of the case. Now, Mr. Chill informed me that I did not qualify. I am not sure what he based his assertion on, right? Now, I do not have...
Ms. Kengne?
Yes.
I appreciate your position, ma'am, and I'm glad you're thinking about these issues. But as far as their impact on today's proceedings, they're not going to have an... I am precluded from setting bond for you per the court's delegation order. And so I'm going to deny bond. Your case will be heard at a later date before a different judge, either with Mr. Cho or a different attorney. You will have a great deal to say about whether or not it's Mr. Cho or a different attorney. But as far as my jurisdiction and authority to consider bond today, in light of the top count of murder, I am precluded by our delegation order from setting bond for you. So you are going to be no bonded for today. I encourage you to hire another attorney or get Mr. Cho or Ms. Markowitz will be following back up with you. And that will be the order today. Ms. Kengne, you are free to go.
May I ask...
The main issue that Raissa had here was with her job. She became a whistleblower when she brought up accusations of fraudulent activity. She said her job kept ignoring her grievances and started harassing her. They offered her a 12% raise and she believed it was a bribe. So it was the final straw for her and she decided to resign. That's why she left the company. Now, if she was telling the truth about her job and the fraud allegations, well, at this point, we will never know if it was true. Everyone involved denied wrongdoing, and the lawsuit is going down the drain. She's got bigger worries now, and Raissa will probably never be getting out of prison for this. She owned some land, an abandoned house, and her condo, but she was short on money. You know, Raissa really put a lot of pressure on herself, representing herself in the lawsuit, then the financial pressures. And honestly, I think she was way too caught up into her job, like a lot of modern day educated career women. She didn't have any family, no man or any of that. So that's why she put all of her energy into her job. Like, forget that job and go get another one. Geesh. I would say to anybody, don't run yourself sick with these jobs. And fine, you wanted to file a lawsuit against them, but I think it would have been a lot less stressful if she had hired a lawyer to help her. In cases like these, sometimes you can find lawyers out there who will work with you without paying them out of pocket up front, and they'll take their fee on the back end. But honestly, this woman is a complete headache. She's an overtalker. She has to have her way. She's got to be right. The police didn't see anything, but even when she went to APD, the officer told her that she can contact the unit that handles robberies. Give them any evidence that she had to prove there was actually a crime committed, because when they went to her home initially, the officer was not convinced that anything had happened. So there's so many unanswered questions here. Who's right, who's wrong? And at this point, I don't think we'll ever really know the whole story. Who's telling the truth and who's not? Raissa really got impatient. She should have waited, presented her case in court, but she was basically running out of money. That's because her business wasn't doing well and she didn't go get a job. She's got the financial responsibilities. She was facing foreclosure. But the worst part is just being all alone trying to figure that out. No support system. And she did that to herself because she made her job and career her life. So when she lost that, she basically didn't have a life. That, along with the frustration of her job not believing her, this is probably why she did what she did. I still don't agree with her going around deleting people because she didn't get her way. Listen, she could have gotten another job and got a lawyer to help her out. But geez, you just can't go around doing this because you can't get your way. Things are not going to go in your favor 100% all the time. Maybe she thought she would lose her case, I don't know. Recently, the federal judge sent her case back to the state, but it wasn't over yet. She still had the opportunity to present her case on the state level. So let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Many people are defending Raissa, saying that she snapped because of the lawsuit and all the allegations surrounding that. Do you think she's justified, or do you think she's just another example of a modern woman not getting her way? Let me know what you think about all of this below. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.